Hi, this is Peter Onorati. You're listening to TV Confidential.
Ed Robertson welcoming you to TV Confidential, radio talk show about television. Now, welcome back our friend Ruta Lee. Ruta Lee, one of the grand dames in the entertainment industry and an actress whose career in film, television, and the stage includes such classics as Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, Witness for the Prosecution, The Twilight Zone, The Fugitive, and Perry Mason. Ruta Lee will join us in our second hour. We have to stay tuned for that. James Rosen will join us later on this hour for part 2 of our conversation about Jim's life and career as an actor and a writer for TV and the stage in New York and L.A., including stories of Jim's encounters with the likes of Jack Lord, Jack Klugman, Steve McQueen, Albert Finney, and Paul Newman. We hope to stay tuned for that as well. Our second hour will also include part 1 of Greg Ehrbar's interview with singer and director Roberta Levitow. Roberta Levitow, daughter of Abe Levitow, the legendary animator and director of such classics as Gay Puri, The Phantom, Toll Booth, and Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol. October 2019 marks the 70th anniversary of the debut of Mr. Magoo, while Roberta recently released an album that includes music from Magoo's Christmas Carol. That is also coming up in our second hour, and we hope you stay tuned for that as well. In the meantime, Greg is with us to start this hour as we welcome back Will Ryan, Nick Santa Maria, and Michael Schlesinger. Will and Nick are the stars, and Michael is the writer, producer, and director of The Misadventures of Biffle and Shooster, a collection of 1930s-style comedy shorts that pay homage to the Three Stooges, Abbott and Costello, Laurel and Hardy, and other vintage comedy teams. The Misadventures of Biffle and Shooster is available on DVD through Kino Lorber, as well as Amazon.com and wherever DVDs are sold. You might recall that the last time Will and Nick stopped by, they gave us a faux interview in character as Biffle and Shooster. This time around, we're going to ask them some questions about some of the shows that they did on their own long before Biffle and Shooster. As we pick up the conversation, Nick, we talked at the beginning of the program, your very first TV role, you appeared in one of my favorite episodes of Buffalo Bill, the Jerry Lewis Week episode.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, they hired, I guess, about 5 of us.
One of whom was Jim Carrey.
One of them was Jim Carrey, who was actually shooting a show called The Duck Factory
very
right
funny,
next door.
Very funny.
We were at MTM. Mm-hmm. There was Radford, Mm-hmm. And they brought him over to do a special bit, as we all sit around and watched, and all of us mumbled to ourselves, we do a better Jerry Lewis than he does. I was hired to be a young Jerry. Uh-huh. I weighed about 20 pounds at the time. And I remember the audition. I walked into a room full, there was 30 people, and I walked in with a handful of books, and I tripped. And I did the thing where every time he would pick one up, another one would fall. And I did it for 10 minutes, and they're laughing and all this stuff. And the next thing I know is I got the part. And I was there all week, which was wonderful. But I got to work with Dabney Coleman, who was just brilliant, and Gina Davis. And I became kind of close because we were in makeup every morning together. But the one who made the biggest impression on me was one of the guest stars that week was James Cromwell.
That's right. He was Bill's guest that week.
That's right.
Yeah.
On
the fake show.
Talk show.
Yeah.
And he was the kindest, most generous man. I've seldom met people as nice as Jim Cromwell, and just a brilliant performer on top of it.
This is post-Stretch Henderson, pre-Babe James
That's
Cromwell.
Right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. Pre-LA Confidential.
Pre-LA Confidential.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. But what a wonderful, wonderful man.
I understand Dabney Coleman does a dead-on Peter Falk.
Well, if he does, he didn't do it with us.
Probably not that week.
He sat down with us at one point. There were a few of us sitting around, and he was asking about people who did impressions, and he was saying, I'm always fascinated about people who do imitations, but he didn't do any for us. But he loved the idea that we were doing Jerry Lewis. Oh, the whole business, no hitting or hurting, I'm a bleeder. So, that's my experience.
Was it mostly ad-lib? Did they just kind of say, okay, give you an idea of what they wanted you to do and just let you go?
How long have you known me? Actually, they told me...
take?
You know what? They told me what they wanted, and then I did it in my own way, which was very nice of them.
Yeah.
Very nice.
You have to understand, Nick is allergic to paper.
pay-per-view.
Yes,
I like that.
pay-per-view.
But yeah, so that's pretty much my experience. It was my first time in front of network cameras.
You did a BL Striker. I remember the show when it was on ABC. I haven't seen it in a number of years. How did that come about?
I was part of another comedy team at that point, the Mark and Nick Show. Mark McCracken, who's actually played Pumpkinhead 2. He's 6'4", so he was hired to play Pumpkinhead in Pumpkinhead 2. He was also the Mant in Matinee.
The Joe Dante film.
Exactly.
With Bill Scheller.
Yeah. And he played the Mant.
Yeah.
Very, very talented man. So we had an act, and we were appearing in Orlando at the time, and my agent called me and said they want to see you for BL Striker. So I went in, I read for Burt Reynolds, and I made him laugh. I added some stuff into what they gave me, and they made him laugh. So next thing I knew, I got the part. I have to tell you, number one, I got to hang around on the set all day with Ozzie Davis, and we hit it off. He was such a great guy. And Burt directed us, and he was a really good director.
That's what I hear.
Yeah. Oh, terrific director. But this is the part that impressed me the most. It was shot on his ranch in Jupiter, Florida, and he turned the barn into a studio. And when I walked in, there was a vintage train like the Orient Express built to exact specifications, looking absolutely gorgeous. So we got to play on that set that he built on that in that barn in Jupiter, Florida, for crying out loud.
Built for the episode or just to have?
Just for that one episode.
Cool.
It was called Night Train.
Cool.
Yeah, wonderful stuff. Wonderful stuff.
I will look for that. We're talking to Will Ryan, Nick Santa Maria, and Michael Schlesinger. Will and Nick are the stars, and Mike is the writer, producer, and director of the Misadventures of Biffle and Shooster, a collection of 1930s comedy shorts featuring Benny Biffle and Sammy Shooster, the greatest movie comedy team that never actually existed. The Misadventures of Biffle and Shooster is available now on DVD through our friends at Kino Lorber. Will, because because we are a comprehensive radio talk show about television, we do our homework. In one of your books, it's
the Iliad.
It's no. It's I Believe in Me and Duke, or Duke and Me.
Oh, Duke and Me.
Duke and Me.
Yeah.
Just sort of a semi-memoir, semi-behind-the-scenes look at your experience as one of the voices of the G.I. Joe show. That's how I learned that you were friends with Ann Rutherford, but I understand that once you danced with Maureen O'Hara. No, you once danced with Margaret O'Brien. You knew Maureen O'Hara, but you danced
I once
with Margaret
met
O'Brien.
Maureen O'Hara, but yes, on more than one occasion I danced with Margaret O'Brien. It's been years, but she was very nice to dance with me because I didn't really know how to dance. I was playing with Johnny Crawford's orchestra in those days, and we were all pals. And during the breaks, they would play music, and Margaret is a terrific dancer, And
I'll be interviewing her soon.
No fooling.
No fooling.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Cool.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
For what?
For some video project.
We'll tell her hi.
I will.
Anyway, we did that on a number of occasions, and it was just very nice of her. And I, still see her now and then. I also danced with who was the other one?
France Nguyen. France Nguyen, Flower
actress.
Flower Drum Song. She was married to Robert Culp.
Robert Culp.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
She was in Joy Luck Club too.
Yeah.
Everybody was in Joy Luck Club.
And she was.
I wasn't.
Elan of Troyes in Star Trek.
Yep. King and I.
All right, I get you.
And the Gene Roddenberry inspired costume.
Oh, okay. I'm not a big Trekkie, but yeah, sorry.
It's okay.
That's okay. It's all good.
Anyway, because of the...
This is the Biffle and Shooster show.
Oh, that's right. That's right. And you guys are our guests.
You better stay.
We can leave.
Go ahead, Will. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to usurp your...
No, I forgot that I had mentioned this in there. I think I was bragging. I said, about the only thing I could brag about myself is that I danced with these two people.
Yeah.
And I remember it very well, but I doubt that she would recall it. But we knew each other because of the Academy, being at screenings and committees and things, I guess. And there was a time when this terrific big band would rehearse over at Rusty's Mexican Cafe in the Valley.
Rusty's Hacienda.
That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I used to
And
go
Dick
there
Miller
sometimes.
and
Dick and Laney would
Leo-
dance. June
yeah.
Foray would be
Yeah.
there.
And that's where I danced with Laney, which astonished me because she says, I only dance with my husband. And I said, well, blah, blah, blah. And Dick said, go ahead. So I got to dance with her. And
And you had to make the mortgage payment that
but-
month. I remember. Do you know,
10 cents a dance.
speaking of dancing, at the 75th anniversary party of Variety, the publication,
the trade publication.
I danced all night with Eva Marie Saint
Ah.
to Nelson Riddle and his orchestra.
Wow.
Okay, go on with your little story.
With my little...
Now,
Great.
are you speaking as Bill or are you
one
speaking
time.
as
How
Benny?
cute.
No, that's Nick Santa Maria talking.
I'm sorry.
That's Nick Santa Maria talking. Me and Eva Marie. And she kept laughing because all I could ask her about was Bob Hope. Working with Bob Hope, which she did twice,
yes,
and she loved him.
Look, I know you both well enough that I don't always know what's talking about.
Am I Benny? Am I Nick? Am I Biffle? Am I Santa Maria?
Sorry.
But anyway,
Will.
Franz
Sorry,
was
Will.
a regular there too. It was an interesting bunch of people because June Foray would be there, and sometimes I'd take her there. Dick Miller and who else?
Against her
One
will.
time I brought Phil Proctor. And,
I love
And afterwards,
Phil.
everybody said, "Was that your brother? Was that your brother?" And it was so funny because 20 years earlier, everybody would think that we were related because we looked similar. And one time, a friend of mine went into the offices of Firesign Theater, and they had my picture on the wall. My friend was Gary Schwartz, and they had Gary Schwartz's picture on the wall. And Gary and I were friends. I said, "How did our 8x10s get here? Why are they on your wall?" He said, we're planning a movie, and we figured you guys could play us, years ago." Kind of surprising, but that
almost sounds like a Fireside Theater bit.
Yeah, right.
Did either of you ever dance with Debbie Reynolds?
I never danced with her, but I've encountered her many times,
Yes.
and it was always interesting. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I once passed her in the Sony lot. I said, "Hi, Debbie." She said, "Shut up."
That's about right. Debbie was not the kindest.
She was always nice when I
That's because you danced with Laney.
Oh, is that it? Okay.
I have no idea what that means.
So,
but that's okay.
But anyway, Franz was a semi-regular there, and so we danced several times. You know who else I danced with, Michael? You would know this person. I can't think of her
Chuck
name
McCann.
right now.
Chuck
No,
McCann.
No, and Chuck was a regular there, too.
He
was
should have
married
eaten
to
more
Mr.
bran.
She was married to Mr. Ralph, to Walter Ralph.
Oh, Colleen Miller.
Yeah,
Colleen Ralph. Yeah.
Yeah, so I asked her to dance, and we're dancing this great swing music and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm dancing with her, and I'm looking at her, and suddenly I realized who she is. I said to her, "Were you once married to Orson Welles?" And she said, "Yes." I said, "I don't believe this."
Colleen who?
Colleen Miller was the name. She wasn't married to Orson Welles.
In a movie.
But, yeah,
no, were you the daughter of Orson Welles?
She played the
Were
daughter
you
of
once
Orson
the daughter
Welles
of
in Man
Orson
in the
Welles?
Shadow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All
Yeah.
right. I'm
No,
sorry.
actually, I just talked to her on the phone yesterday because they just.
She's still dancing, by the way.
So I guess I danced with her a couple of times because one time I was amazed. She said, "Oh, you knew who I was." No, I didn't. It turned out Walter Ralph, the heir to the Ralph fortune, was a big fan of radio's Lum and Abner.
Yes.
So yeah.
And he told me a fascinating story. Walter did that his godparents.
Attention, Tim Hollis.
His godparents was the other couple on the Hearst yacht the night of Thomas Ince's murder. And he said that they told him what happened. They said that the movie, The Cat's Meow, is the absolute truth.
Wow.
That is exactly what happened.
I believe that. I believe that. It makes sense.
And it's
Because they told him.
it's at the premiere of the Cat's Meow, the cast and crew screening that I finally met Francine York, who I'd seen around for years and years.
And in that movie, there's a song of Will's featured prominently called "When the Cat's Away."
Which movie is that?
Actually,
The Cat's Meow, isn't it?
Oh, the cat.
would that it were, but
am I wrong?
But,
I think
yeah,
Ian
and probably what
Whitcomb
you're
did
thinking
the
is
song.
Ian arranged all the songs.
Oh, okay.
That's the connection.
All right.
Ian Whitcomb.
I've heard your song in a documentary. I remember telling you that I was watching
Oh,
a
that's
documentary.
right. Yes, the song "When the Cat's Away" is used. It's
a great
in a lot
song.
of animation.
Sorrow and the Pity.
documentaries.
The Sorrow and the Pity. That's right. That's
it
right.
became the theme song for Ward Kimball on special material whenever Ward's talking.
Yeah.
Play that in the background, which is kind of neat.
It's great. It's a great song.
We're talking to Will Ryan, Nick Santa Maria, and Michael Schlesinger. Will and Nick are the stars, and Mike is the writer, producer, and director of the Misadventures of Biffle and Shooster, a collection of 1930s comedy shorts featuring Benny Biffle and Sammy Shooster, the greatest movie comedy team that never actually existed. The Misadventures of Biffle and Shooster is available now on DVD through our friends at Kino Lorber.
Can you talk a little bit about the voice sessions for Little Mermaid, since it's kind of cool that you are in the bonus features as a Blu-ray out, and the script reading and things like that, what it was like?
Yeah, they decided to do something that they had never done before that anybody knew of, which was to assemble the entire cast of this upcoming animated feature and do a reading, kind of a table reading, at a recording studio so they could record it and listen to it afterwards and study it and so on. They hadn't cast everybody, so my part was to fill in for all the parts that weren't cast already. I did do the seahorse, who I played in the film, and a couple of other characters that I played in the film. The main cast was cast. A couple of changes might have happened after that reading. So that was pretty neat. It was at some famous kind of rock and roll studio. I forget the name of it right now, but they flew a few people in for it. We all met each other. That was great. I walk in. I've been working with Ken Mars on a musical.
I love Ken Mars.
Yeah, me too.
He was King Triton.
Great guy. Yeah. We were getting together every day over at his house to work on this play that I was doing the music for. He wrote the play. It was based on a Moliere thing. So let's say it's a Monday, and he said, hey, Will, I can't get together tomorrow. I've got something. I said, oh, yeah, I meant to tell you I can't do it either. Okay, we'll see you on Wednesday. Okay, good. So next morning I get up. I go to this recording studio. I go inside. There's John and Ron there. Oh, hi, Will. Here's the storyboards, and you'll be talking to this. I'm talking to the king a lot in this thing. I said, who's playing the king? I said, do you know Kenneth Mars? Yeah, I see him every day. Yeah. Is he here? Yeah, he's in the other room. Yeah. Okay, great. So that was neat. Who else was on it?
Jodie Benson was there.
Yeah.
Was she cast? Yeah.
Yeah. I think the only change, they had a very good actor playing the prince, and for whatever reason that was changed, and they had a funny actor playing what became the buddy part. There was a change there.
Flounder or Sebastian?
Buddy. I'm sorry, Buddy Hackett.
Oh, Buddy Hackett.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
you're talking about the seagull.
Yeah. Those are the only two changes that I think occurred. The composers were there, and John and Ron were there. Evidently, everybody else there was kind of an approved Broadway person, and I was the outside kind of quasi-Disney person that John and Ron squeezed in on these guys because they just wanted somebody to be utility, in a way, apart from this one character. But I was talking to Howard
Ashman, yeah.
Because we're just sitting around waiting to get started, and he was right across from me. So I said, you guys started off at the WPA Theater, right? I said, yeah. I said, I did a show there once. I said, no, you didn't. I said, yeah, I did. He said, what was the name of it? I said, Visitors versus the Home Team. No, you didn't. I said, yeah, I did. No, I said, it was the first play from the WPA Theater. I'm thinking, how can I prove it? I thought, well, it was the first show that ever played there that was reviewed by Village Voice. So I said that. He said, what year was that? I said, I don't know, 72, 73, something like that. He said, oh, well, that's before we were there. That's before I was there. I said, yeah, I know. He said, hey, Alan, you had a show at the WPA Theater. You're kidding. And then we started talking about the place and the lady that owned it, and, it was down in the Bowery and, all that stuff. So suddenly I was okay. With these guys.
With the Broadway guys.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel that way about you. Being a Broadway guy.
Oh, right.
You squeezing yourself into this act that we do. Do you know that I worked for Mel Brooks for 5.5 years?
Are you Nick? Are you?
He's a driver.
Don't call me a eunuch. Okay? No, I'm Nick. I was in the producers for 5.5 years.
Mel said nobody ever got his sheets whiter.
Right.
Absolutely. Stronger than dirt.
Yes.
But yeah, I was in the producers for 5.5 years.
Was he easy to please or not?
Who, Mel?
Yeah.
Mel was an easy laugher. He was an easy laugher. There were different Mels that I encountered during that time. Unfortunately, it was during the time that his wife passed away, that Anne Bancroft passed away. So we had Moody Mel. Yeah. We had Mel, everybody look at me or else I'm not staying. And we had Mel, who was very appreciative and loved to talk about the Ritz brothers with me, because we were both buddies with the Ritz brothers. And that was it. Yeah.
So we have the Misadventures of Biffle and Shooster, the DVD. We have Biffle and Shooster, the comic book. We have Biffle and Shooster, the book.
Yeah.
The Biffle and Shooster Portable Guide to Proper Etiquette.
Correct. The Biffle and Shooster Portable Guide to Proper Etiquette.
Which, by the way, is spelled correctly.
As opposed to his birth certificate.
Will Ryan, Nick Santa Maria, Michael Schlesinger, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
We rehearsed that.
I did.
And it's nice being had.
The Misadventures of Biffle and Shooster is available now on DVD through our friends at Kino Lorber. You can also find it at Amazon.com and wherever DVDs are sold. You can follow Biffle and Shooster on Facebook and on Twitter at Biffle and Shooster. James Rosen will join us when we come back on TV Confidential.
Become an advertiser or underwriter of TV Confidential and let our brand help promote your brand. To find out more, go to televisionconfidential.com/advertise.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you're testing your blood sugar 4 or more times per day, injecting insulin 3 or more times per day, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetic Health Hotline today.
800-712-8002. That's 800-712-8002. Paid for by U.S. Med.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer while supplies last. Plus, lock in your price for 2 years guaranteed. Call All American Dish, your Dish authorized retailer now.
800-296-1251. 800-296-1251. That's 800-296-1251.
Offers require credit qualification, 24-month commitment, early termination fee, and e-auto pay. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
Story Salon is Los Angeles' longest-running storytelling venue. We have live shows every Wednesday in Studio City, as well as solo shows, podcasts, CDs, and several books. Los Angeles Daily News calls Story Salon Gemstones of Narrative, something new, funny, astonishing. Sunset Magazine says tales tall, tragic, and tantalizing. All of this makes Story Salon one of the most eclectic entertainment experiences available. You can learn more about us by going to our Facebook page or by visiting our website at www.storysalon.com.
Accredited by Guinness World Records, welcome to Archival Television Audio Incorporated, a peerless TV soundtrack archive preserving the audio from television's first 3 decades, the 1950s, 60s, and 70s, the golden and silver age of television.
For more information, go to atvaudio.com.
Ed Robertson, along with her friend Donna Allen Figueroa, who I understand has a new book out.
Yes, it's entitled Fall Again Beginnings. It's the first part of a 4-part contemporary romantic series set against the background of working actors.
Something that you know a thing or two
well,
about.
You write what you know, and I have been working in the business for several years.
It is not necessarily autobiographical, but it's based on...
Sure, many of the experiences that the actors in my book have, many have happened to me, many have happened to friends of mine. It's not, if you're looking for Valley of the Dolls, it's not, it's grounded in reality.
It is grounded in reality, and it's the first in a series.
Yes.
Called the Fall Again series.
Fall Again.
Which is available as a paperback as well as an ebook and in Kindle at fallagainseries.com.